And a very good evening to everybody. It is Wednesday evening. This is September. This is the 8th of September. And I am here to welcome you to the next in our Music Revival live stream series, online program of free streams coming to you on various platforms. I hope that you can join us for the next hour or so for some very relaxing and I think charming, interesting music for you. Tonight's program, I've put together a concept which I'm repeating, an idea that I had several months ago that was pages from Grandmother's piano album. And so tonight we're having volume 2. These are some repeating of a few of the favorites from that program, as well as a selection of music that just has a certain nostalgia, a certain gentleness, a certain melodic charm, beauty, restful, and just lovely music that I'm sure many of you will know and remember. Part of the program with the series of streams is that I try to cover as broad a part of the repertoire as possible, and I'm interested in repertoire across the board. So while we've had some very serious concerts of Chopin sonatas and Beethoven sonatas, and we have a Schumann program this Saturday, I'd also like to explore other areas. So we've had Scott Joplin, ragtime and tangos, and this evening is going to be some just light-hearted, sometimes salon-inspired music, you might say, but just simple, beautiful melodies that I'm sure you will enjoy. Of course, once again, if you are able to support me, this is an ongoing plea. I do sound like a stuck record sometimes, I guess, but an ongoing plea. Every month the expenses and the costs and the bills add up. So if you are watching and enjoying these streams, please do consider purchasing an optional ticket or sending through a financial donation. You'll find all the options to do that at our website. And of course, thank you to everyone who is watching and supporting me on an ongoing basis. This is go over 18 months in now to this program, and I'm very grateful for the support that has been ongoing and continuous. So this evening's selection, once again, we've changed a few things around. I have a particularly beautiful selection of orchids and images to show you. I've put on one of my, I thought, fanciest jackets, sort of would fit into this theme of nostalgia. We've changed some of the fabrics around, have some fun and just good old times for everyone to enjoy. And I'm going to play this program in a series of groups of 3 as usual. And I'm going to start off with 3 of the pieces that I did include in the last session of this Grandmother's Piano album program. That is the very famous Humoresque by Antonin Dvořák, the Bohemian or Czech composer. Composed this in America when he was inspired by American folk music, native folk music of that land, and something in the style of the music and style of the song comes through. Second piece, very interesting, by a Polish composer, Mrs. Tekla. I must get this right. I've actually been practicing my pronunciation because it's a rather complicated name. The Maiden's Prayer by Tekla Bądarzewska-Baranowska, I think is the correct pronunciation. The Maiden's Prayer, or the Prayer of the Virgin, a very beautiful little piece of music that's a simple idea, very restful, very simple idea repeated again and again, but very charming. And the third of the 3 pieces to open this evening's program, the Minuet in G by the very young Ludwig from Beethoven. And I discovered recently in my research around this piece, it actually is not written for piano originally. Beethoven wrote this for a small ensemble of violins and stringed instruments and wind instruments, and it's in the piano version that we actually know it, that it's best known, which explains why it doesn't fit very well under the fingers, but nevertheless very charming music. So this to start this evening's program, Dvořák, Baranowska, I've got that wrong again already, and Beethoven Minuet. That was the Minuet at G, the very famous Minuet by Ludwig van Beethoven. We're having a little moment trying to work, Andrew and I try to work out which camera we're going to use. And that, as I said, a famous little piece of music that Beethoven wrote when he was 17 years old. Before that, the Maiden's Prayer by Tekla Bądarzewska-Baranowska, I think is the correct one. I'm trying to remember that correctly in amidst all this. And then starting off with the Dvořák Humoresque. For many people, I often wonder their interest in music, how it is sparked off. It's usually some childhood event, some childhood connection, or at some point in their youth or some point in their life where they actually connect with a moment, usually through another person that somehow leads them into this world of discovering music, especially classical music, and piano, for instance. And for me it was, and for many people I think, it's often a grandmother or an aunt or someone that they are have an attachment to, and suddenly this experience of sitting very gently and sitting very quietly with someone at the piano and being exposed to this possibility of this magical range of sounds emanating from an instrument. You know, it's just such a wonderful experience, wonderfully exciting world to discover. And for me, it is actually bound up in that little piece of the Maiden's Prayer. I used to go and often spend holidays with some of my brothers and sisters with one of my aunts near Johannesburg. And I remember very clearly her playing the piano, and very, beautiful. Her hair was beautifully done, and her makeup was wonderful, and the rings, the fingers were adorned with rings, and a gold watch with a little hanky delicately perched underneath it. And she would play the piano magnificently, like very regally and very grandly. And the Maiden's Prayer was one of the pieces that I remember her playing, and I was astounded by that. Well, this is wonderful. I was already playing the piano at that point, but how amazing to hear this wonderful music, and that it was such a part of a sophisticated grown-up life. So the Maiden's Prayer, certainly a piece to fill in there. And someone who's already popping into a sophisticated life. Yes, here's little Lucy. Come, Lucy, you're going to quickly say hello, because you can't be around for too long. Hello, little Lucy. How are you today? Yes, it's a beautiful spring day. Yes, it's been raining, and you know what happens. Yes, I know what happens when it's raining. The grass is very wet and cold, and that means that we don't like to go outside that much, even though we should. Huh? Yes, Luce, I know that, but today it's very clear. It's been lovely, warm, sunny spring day. The spring rain has arrived, and that has left now, and a beautiful, warm, spring, sunny day. Clear skies, yes. Beautiful music for beautiful weather for a beautiful program of music. Now I'm going to go on to a wonderful little piece of music by J.S. Bach, Johann Sebastian Bach, that he wrote apparently for his wife, Anna Magdalena. I always imagine this domestic home life of Bach with 22 children. His second wife, Anna Magdalena Bach, was also a very accomplished keyboard player and singer. And he apparently wrote this beautiful song, Bist du bei mir, or Be With Me, Be Close to Me, in the opening pages of a book that he compiled and wrote out of some of his favorite keyboard music for her. As it turns out, it's actually not by J.S. Bach, although apparently he had some way of arranging it, but the melody was in fact written by another composer by the name of Mr. Stölzel. Stölzel, I think it is. Anyway, this is a wonderful melody, supposed to be sung, but I think it's such a charming tune. I'm going to play it on the piano for you. Straight after that, I'm going to play two other gavottes, these wonderful, sprightly dances that I think are just such charming, ear-tickling music from the French or English suites, number 6, the 6 English suites, or the last suite, number 6, these two very charming little dances. And then I'm going to end off this with a complete leap into South American 20th century music with a piece by Ernesto Nazareth, the Brazilian composer of tango music and other music that I've played, except this time instead of a tango, this is a waltz, a beautiful salon waltz. And you can really see from the melody, the way that the melody unwinds, and this beautiful elegance and the shape of the melody, why Nazareth is sometimes called the Chopin of South America. in that set of 3 compositions for this evening's Pages or Tales from Grandmother's Piano album, part 2. I started off with 2 pieces by J.S. Bach, Bist by mir, a song, although it's not entirely by J.S. Bach, only a reworking of a composition by someone else that he wrote in his notebook for his wife, Anna Magdalena. 2 gavottes from the English suite, and then number 6, and then a beautiful waltz from the South American tango composer, Ernesto Nazareth. I'm playing very badly this evening. I'm making lots of mistakes, but so be it. It's home music. It's homespun music. This is a home atmosphere. I made such a mess of the first Bach that I decided to play it twice. My iPad wouldn't work. I completely misread things. So we're making it up as we go. It's just an informal gathering. I'm hoping you enjoy the selection of music. I'm going to move off to 3 rather unusual pieces, 2 by the Mexican composer Manuel Ponce, and then a beautiful piece of music which I was asked to play a few months ago by a composer called Carl Reber called Remembrance. Remembrance seems to be one of those favorites of many, many people. So from Ponce's repertoire, a Romanza de amor, a romance of love, and then a beautiful song that translates as "Don't worry about me, I will just be fine." Somewhat of a beautiful Mexican love song. the popular favorite, I think, of many people. Many people have asked for that piece by Reber called Remembrance, very charming melody there, in a very light, sentimental style, you might say. Before that, I played two pieces by the Mexican composer Manuel Ponce, a romance and a beautiful Mexican intermezzo or prelude song. I'm going to finish off this evening's selection of music of very just heartfelt, beautiful, delicate, gentle music in this program, pages from Grandmother's piano album, with three English pieces, two, first of which is Elizabeth by Hubert Parry. Like many people, I've spent many weeks, or many hours, should I say, over a period of weeks, many hours, watching various TV programs during lockdowns. One of the ways which one can spend very long evenings at home when you're not able to go out much and socialize much. And I've recently discovered Downton Abbey. I know many people have been watching it for months and I've always avoided it, but Downton Abbey suddenly caught my interest. And this little piece of music which I'd played before by Hubert Parry certainly fits exactly into that style. It's very lush English scenery and beautiful atmosphere of great sophistication, you might say, and exactly the right period. This was composed in 1912. After that, Edward Elgar, from his Enigma Variations, a piece that he wrote for orchestra, but actually published this piano version as well. The beautiful Nimrod, one of the variations, this very well-known melody that you'll know from the Enigma Variations, and then ending off with a piece from the very well-known Danny Boy, or the Londonderry Air, or as a friend of mine, Kathy in Durban, calls it the Londonderry Air, which I think is something else. So the Londonderry Air, or Danny Boy, in an arrangement or an improvisation around that piece to end this evening's program. That was the last selection in this evening's program. Tales, a beautiful melody. I'm sure many grandmothers have played that. Tales from Grandmother's Piano album, the London Derriere, or Danny Boy, traditional song. And before that, English composers Edward Elgar and Hubert Parry, a piece by Hubert Parry called Elizabeth from his Schulbright Tunes, and Elgar's Nimrod from the Enigma Variations. Now that does bring us to an end of this evening's program. I hope you enjoyed the selection of music. Little Lucy's looking at me at venue. Hello, Luce. Do you want to come and say hello? Come. Which one did you like? Come, Luce. Oh, Luce is not interested. Luce, did I offend you? Oh, no, you are going to come. Here we go. You were looking at me rather expectant. Like, what? Do you expect me to come on again? So, Luce, how are things going with you? What's been happening in your neck of the woods? Anything? No, nothing at all. Huh? Just, it's been very cold. So lots of cold weather means that you've been snuggling in the bed, yes. Lots of snuggles in bed. Let's just see what's going on here. And you've been with everyone, with Wendy Pop. Wendy Pop and Frida Pop looks like they've already gone off to bed and left you out here. Yes. And you are just, everything's perfect. Yes, you like the music. Did you find this evening's program of music quite restful? Yes, you did. You think you could have it again. You might even listen to it later on, yes. I think that might be a good possibility. It's a program of music you'd like to just enjoy listening. Oh, a big yawn, yes. Okay, I think I've said enough. I get the message, Lucy. I get it. Right. Well, thank you for everyone who's joined us tonight. Thank you, Andrew, for the technical support. And I hope that you can join us on Saturday night for our program. I'll be playing a selection of music by Schumann, including the wonderful Kreisleriana. These are 8 fantasies, quite an extended piece of music. Kreisleriana by Robert Schumann on Saturday for the Saturday stream in concert. And once again, if you are able to support me, please do consider buying a ticket, sending a financial donation on a monthly basis. It's always helpful just to keep the wolf from the door at these difficult times. And look forward to seeing you on Saturday and next week for our next program in our ongoing Music Revival online series. Look after yourself, stay well and keep well. Look forward to seeing you shortly.